If you want to get a quality mic but you don't want to spend too much money, then the new Maono PD300X could be exactly what you're looking for. It is a substantial upgrade over the previous Maono PD200X, and yet it still costs under $100. There are still a few issues that I have with it though, so let's check it out. Before we go any further, I should point out that Maono did send me this to review, but they're not paying for or sponsoring this video, so you will as always get my honest opinion. This microphone is dual output, so it has both an XLR and a USB-C port in the back, and I'm actually recording to both at the same time. So that is a pretty good feature of this mic because you can record both the outputs at the same time. I've got the XLR going into the adapter into my camera, and I've got the USB-C cable going into my PC. And I will show on the screen which one you're hearing as I go through the video. There is also a 3.5mm audio jack on the back, so you can plug your headphones if you need to monitor your audio as well. Design-wise, the PD300X is a substantial upgrade over the PD200X. It is an all-metal solid construction, so that's the main body is metal, even the mic capsule inside is surrounded in a metal cage as well. Even the pop filter or the windscreen on here feels like an upgrade as well, so it's more of a felt foam finish to it. And from the perspective of does it actually block out plosives, which is what it's designed to do, well, let's do a test now. Peter Piper picked a piece of pickled pepper. Peter Piper picked a piece of pickled pepper. So now you get to see how well or not that is cancelling out that noise. I do think it performs better than the PD200X. And I think that's probably going to be a bit of a theme for this video. The shock mount is a big upgrade over the PD200X. It was very plasticky with the PD200X, whereas now it's an all metal construction with a rubberized interface joining the mic to the mount. If I'm touching the mic, you will hear noise of me touching it. Now if I touch the shock mount, you hear a little bit but not much. Then I'm going to touch the boom arm. And now the table. You're less trying to pick up the noise, the bang, but whether the vibrations actually come through to the mic. This does perform better than the PD200X, so that is a good upgrade. There's one button and one dial on the top of this microphone, which are way smarter than they have been before. So the mute button not only allows you to unsurprisingly mute the audio, but it also has a long press feature, which allows it to do one of 4 actions. So it can disable things like the noise gate or your mic monitoring or your headphone monitoring, and you'll be able to change that and what each action does when you do that in the Maono Link app, which we'll look at in a bit. There's 2 things that annoy me about the mute button. One is that there's no indicator. So there's no like red LED light or anything else that comes on to tell you that you're muted. So you do have to keep an eye out on volumes on if you're recording on PC or on a camera to make sure that you haven't accidentally hit it. However, it is a physical button, so the likelihood of you doing that is pretty slim. I still would have liked some kind of indicator. The other thing, and this was a problem that I had with the PD200X, was that the mute button is loud. It's not as bad as it was on the PD200X, but when I press it, so now the audio on the PC is now muted, so there's no sound being recorded on the PC. You can still hear me over the XLR connection going to the camera though, because the mute button only affects the USB-C sound. So again, the problem I have is that every time you click it, you can hear it being clicked. Lots of other mics have quieter ways of doing that, like capacitive touch buttons and things like that. So I would have preferred a slightly better way of doing it. It's a minor annoyance rather than a big one. The dial on the top serves 3 functions. It allows you to control not only just the mic gain and the headphone volume, but also the monitor mix as well. And you can easily switch between those just by pressing that knob down. There are little LEDs all the way around the circle, so you can see exactly what level you're putting it to. You do have to remember your colors though as to which one does what, and it is a lot easier to make those changes in the PC app. And given that all of these controls only work when you're using the mic over USB-C, then I'd say using it in the app is probably easier. One cool thing which you'll see later though is that when you make the changes on the dial, it actually changes in-app on your PC as well. And that's pretty cool. If you've made it this far into this video, then I am assuming you're enjoying it. So if you could like this video and even subscribe if you're not already, that would immensely help this channel, and your support is always appreciated. So whilst you can change some controls on the mic itself, there are now a ton of controls in the new Maono Link app. The app itself is also a substantial upgrade over the app that came with the previous PD300X. You can actually go and watch my video of when I reviewed and compared the PD300X to another microphone. But one of my comments was, well, the app really doesn't make much of a difference because you don't really have much control. With this though, the new Maono Link app just gives you a ton of control options. So you've got the split between sort of basic and not. From a basic perspective, you've got things like changing your microphone gain volume and also your headphone volume and your monitor mix. So how much you want to bias the audio to the sound of your mic or the sound of your PC. Now, those are the three settings that you can also change using the button on the top. So now you can see I'm changing the headphone volume just by changing the dial on the top of the mic, and it's also changing the dial on the PC. And you can do the same with changing the headphone gain and also the monitor mix as well. You've also got a noise gate, which is essentially a high pass filter, and that allows you to set the limit by which it's going to cut lower noise out. That's really handy if you've got something like a PC next to you and you want to drown that out. You've also got options around setting the hold time, the attack time. I mean, unless you kind of really know what you're doing, I'd say just kind of leave those default levels as is. I mean, honestly, a video describing all the features of this app is probably a video in its own right. You've also got these sort of 4 options here for setting that long press on that mute button that's on top of the mic. So when you long press the mute button, you can either activate or deactivate the noise gate, the mic monitor, the PC monitor, or the headphones. Once you're comfortable with that though, you can then jump into the scene, or this is kind of like the advanced settings. So you've got 4 easy options over the top to choose from. So you've got original, so this is setting basically the normal EQ of what this microphone sounds like out of the box over USB. You've also got low cut, which is essentially a high pass filter, and it's cutting out the lower frequencies. You've then got a mid boost, which is kind of highlighting or boosting some of those higher frequencies. Those two are probably quite similar to, if you know any of the Rode products, kind of similar to the Big Bottom and the Aural Exciter that they have. And then you can have both of them, which actually combines both the low cut and the mid boost. You can then change it into a podcasting mode, which is going to change how I sound. So it's boosting the treble a little bit, and you've got a dip around 200 hertz. So it's trying to give you a bit more of a podcast vibe to your audio. So in recording mode, it is now trying to excite my audio and having a bit of a dip around the bass, trying to give you a clean signal with no background noise. Gaming, it is now accentuating or trying to accentuate your voice only and nothing else, so that you can have your voice well heard over the top of, say, the music of a game. So if you're gaming or streaming, then this setting would be quite good for you. So if the default settings aren't to your liking, you can go and create your own custom one as well. In here, you have a full parametric EQ. So you can set exactly which frequency you want to change, exactly by how much. To have this in a piece of free software is massive. So this is the kind of control that I normally get on my audio when I'm mixing videos like this in DaVinci Resolve. It's exactly the same kind of controls. So now you've got the same level of controls here. So you can actually find points in your audio where you don't sound very good. So if I actually pointed this all the way up, I probably sound awful now. So you kind of find a point where you know you're not sounding particularly good. Maybe there's a lot of S's that you can hear in your voice. So then you can dip that audio so it doesn't sound quite so bad. That is exactly what you want to be doing when you're trying to trim your audio to sound as good as it possibly can. Again, this is a whole video into itself. You can change the Q factors, the frequencies, the gain. Anyway, the short version of this is there is a lot of functionality in this app that you can use. If you do want to see a more detailed video of this app and how it works, let me know in the description down below, or let me know in the comments down below. And if enough people ask for it, I'll do it. One thing I did find is that you can actually record in this app rather than having to use something separate like OBS or something like that. So it is now recording video, and you can kind of see it moving on the screen as it's recording my voice. If I then switch tabs, because I want to maybe change my audio and how I sound and come back again, it stopped the recording. So as soon as you switch between tabs, it just stops recording, which is really odd. I'm assuming it's a bug. They could easily fix this in a software update. I'm assuming the bug won't be there for long. I just thought I'd mention it. But other than that, I think the app's great. In this app, you can also get firmware updates, which I would thoroughly recommend, because when I first got this out of the box, it didn't work in so much the audio wasn't coming through to the PC okay, but I upgraded the firmware and now it works fine. If anyone's wondering what firmware I'm running, it is 220. Yeah, 220. So should you buy the Maono PD300X? Well, if you can't guess from the video already, my answer to that is pretty much yes, or at least consider it, because you've got a really good build quality in this mic. It sounds good, and if you're predominantly using it over USB-C, then you've got great software on your PC to get the most out of this mic. And you get all of that for a retail price of $99.99, and on Amazon at the moment it is down to $90. I will put purchase links to it in the description down below so that you can go check it out for yourself. If you do want to check out some more mic alternatives though, then be sure to check out the link up here somewhere. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.